Right, to the Western Cape. Cape Town is where we're heading. The WEF, World Economic Forum on Africa, is currently taking place. Nompumelelo Siziba is there for us. She's covering this all-important summit. Nompu, very good morning to you.
Thanks very much, Blaine. Welcome on this beautiful morning here in Cape Town. We are at the Cape Town Convention Centre. Of course, we're in the second day of the World Economic Forum on Africa meeting. It's the 28th meeting on this particular area. And of course, lots of discussions are being had around how to ensure that Africa moves forward in the context of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, earlier today, the Minister of Communications made an announcement with Cisco around an investment that's been made just to make digital technology more accessible, particularly to smaller business, so that at the end of the day, these technologies can assist them in terms of furthering themselves and so on. So with me, without any further ado, I do have Clayton Naidu. He's the General Manager of Sub-Saharan Africa from Cisco, and he's just going to be telling us a little bit about what the investment is all about. Thank you very much for joining us, Clayton. So today the announcement was made. Just give us a sense of what it means and what it's all about.
Good morning. Firstly, it's an honor to be here, and thank you for hosting me. So we're excited about the investment. Last year in December, as part of the Global Citizen Movement, we had a Cisco delegation come down and meet the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. And what we wanted to do is focus on investment priorities to advance the country to take advantage of fourth industrial revolution technologies. Okay, and we did that through a program called CDA, which stands for Country Digitization Acceleration. It is a program where we invest in the country on certain pillars to move South Africa forward to take advantage of 4AR solutions, right? To unpack the pillars, I'm going to give you an insight around what we're going to be doing. The first pillar is actually centered around job creation, and what we do is we like to align these activities with the NDP, the National Development Program. So job creation is at the heart of what we want to do in the first pillar. And what saddens me is the unemployment rate in South Africa, specifically youth unemployment. And what we want to do is we want to focus on incubating small partners. We want to give them access to a facility. We've built 2 already in South Africa, and we plan to build 7 more over 3 years. The total investment of the CDA program is 140 million rand. A large part of that is going to go into what we call partner incubation centers. We call it EDGE centers, which stands for Experience, Design, Go-to-Market and Earn. And essentially what we want to do is we want to create a circle of opportunity with job creation at the center of the circle. So we want to incubate the small partners. We want to give them access to technology. We want them to sell to customers. And lastly, we want them to grow their businesses and employ the unemployed graduates that's coming out of our training programs, right?
Excellent stuff. Now, just give us a sense of the number of beneficiaries that you're looking at over the period of the investment, and also what type of small entrepreneurs you're looking to assist.
Yeah, so we want to work with IT companies, or normally you have individuals that have a technology skill, or they have a love for technology, or a willingness to work with us to develop technology solutions that will solve problems, right? So what we don't want is we don't want SMEs that just have a registered company and they want to get into the IT industry. We want them to have a love and passion for it, because we know that they'll take it forward, right? So we're looking at, as I mentioned in the first pillar, we're looking at 7 additional EDGE centers across the country. The second pillar is centered around skills. We're looking at inserting our academies in TVET colleges, because what we want to do is we want to combine digital skills with traditional skills, right? Because technology is now horizontal. It's going to be in every single sector, and we want to ensure that we're leveraging the digital curriculum inside the technical skills at TVET colleges, right? So we're planning to have 200 TVET colleges come mainstream over the 3-year period. And the last pillar is focused around cybersecurity. And what we want to do is we want to focus on supporting government on education, as well as some of the tools that we have available. And I think if you read some of our industry reports, you realize that Cisco is the largest security company now in the world. So we have tools and a framework, as well as an architecture in which we can work with government to provide them some proactive insights around cybersecurity.
On the issue of cybersecurity, we do know that globally there's this issue of cyber attacks with people basically going into a company or institutions' systems and sometimes asking for a ransom to ensure that you get the information back. There are all sorts of data protection issues there. A big company can recover from that and maybe even pay the ransoms, because we understand that they do that. But what about small companies who are faced with those type of challenges? What do they do?
Yeah, certainly fourth industrial revolution technologies, as well as 5G as an example, which is an example of it, is going to bring additional risk, right? Specifically for smaller companies, but also for bigger companies, right? Because the risk will be higher for bigger companies, right? I think it's important to start with baseline awareness of security, right? Because most of the hack happens due to lack of awareness. It's normally a user issue, right? Because you can protect many domains, but it's normally a user issue, and that requires some education, right? But more importantly, if you look at the tools that we have available now, specifically tools that's available that is cloud-based, it is not only applicable to the large businesses, but the small businesses can use some of those tools right now to start protecting their environments, right? I don't think there's ever a situation you can be 100% protected, but I think you can be protected enough and you can protect your data, which is most importantly, so you don't get yourself caught up into a situation when you have to pay a ransom. So our tools will cater for large businesses as well as small businesses that we have available, and most importantly, we want to focus on training. The last point I want to make on training, if you look at our academies that we have in South Africa, specifically networking academies, we have about 70 plus academies, and we train about 12,000 students a year. We're also changing our curriculums to start focusing on cybersecurity, right? Because we understand that there's a need to train cybersecurity professionals, because that's going to be needed in every single sector moving forward.
Clayton, pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for that very positive story coming out there from Cisco, that investment is being made in digital skills and basically helping to uplift small businesses. Small businesses are critical for economies because they're the ones that, in the majority, are the ones who can create lots of jobs. Back to studio.